From the Boston strong boy to being mauled by a European cat, this is Muhammad Ali versus Oleksandr Usyk, the real GOAT debate. In the world of boxing, the heavyweight division has always been the biggest draw for fans. Watching the biggest men duke it out in the ring, waiting for one big knockout punch, has kept fans of the sweet science on the edge of their seats. The first recognized world heavyweight champion was John L. Sullivan, way back in 1895. Sullivan, known as the Boston Strong Boy, defeated Dominic McCaffrey on August 29th to become the world heavyweight champion. His title reign lasted 2,566 days and was the United States' first sports superstar, becoming the first athlete to earn $1 million. On June 22, 1937, the greatest title run in boxing history began when a 23-year-old from Alabama became heavyweight champion. Joe Louis, the Brown Bomber, knocked out James J. Braddock in the 8th round at Chicago's Comiskey Park and went on a 12-year run as champion. He surrendered the title in 1949 when he announced his retirement. Over the next 14 years, the title changed hands 8 times, with 7 different men holding it. Ezzard Charles, Jersey Joe Walcott, Rocky Marciano, Floyd Patterson, Ingemar Johansson, and Sonny Liston were the men who laid claim to the heavyweight title until 1964, when 22-year-old Cassius Clay defeated Liston in a massive upset, becoming heavyweight champion and changing boxing forever. Clay changed his name to Muhammad Ali after the Liston fight, when he joined the Nation of Islam. In the rematch with Liston, Ali knocked him out in the very first round, letting the boxing world know he was there to stay. But on April 28, 1967, he was convicted of draft evasion for refusing to fight in the Vietnam War, saying, "I ain't got no quarrel with those Viet Cong." The US government didn't care how he felt about the war, and he was sentenced to 5 years in prison, fined $10,000, and banned from boxing for 3 years. He managed to stay out of prison after his case was appealed, and when he returned to the ring in Atlanta on October 26, 1970, he made an even bigger statement by knocking out Jerry Quarry in the 3rd round. After closing out 1970 with a win over Oscar Bonavena, he fought Joe Frazier at Madison Square Garden on March 8, 1971, in what's called the Fight of the Century. The fight went all 15 rounds, and when the dust settled, Frazier had won by unanimous decision.
Champion of the world, Joe Frazier!
Joe Frazier!
Giving Ali the first loss of his pro career. The brash, brazen, outspoken Ali saw his record drop to 31 wins and 1 defeat. He got back in the ring soon after and defeated Jimmy Ellis in July, winning the vacant NABF heavyweight title. After 9 more fights, including 5 title defenses, he stepped in the ring with Ken Norton on March 31st, 1973, and lost his NABF title in a split decision.
5 points for lead. There it is. There it is. One of the greatest upsets again in boxing history.
He set up a rematch with Norton less than 6 months later, and on September 10th, he won the title back from Norton, returning the favor with a split decision win. That earned him a rematch with Smokin' Joe Frazier, and on January 28, 1974, at Madison Square Garden, Ali got his revenge.
Winner by unanimous decision is Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali.
By winning a unanimous decision victory, setting up the famous Rumble in the Jungle bout for the WBA, WBC, and the Ring heavyweight titles against George Foreman. On October 30th, 1974, Muhammad Ali became the world heavyweight champion for the 2nd time, knocking out Big George with 2 seconds left in the 8th round. The man who claimed to float like a butterfly and sting like a bee successfully defended his title 10 times heading into his 1978 title fight against Leon Spinks. It wasn't Ali's night, and the 36-year-old champion lost his titles by a split decision to Spinks. Ali wasn't going to settle for that, and the rematch was held on September 15, 1978. The trash-talking Ali got his payback, winning by unanimous decision and reclaiming the WBA and the Ring heavyweight titles. In a final attempt to continue to be the most feared man in the squared circle, he took on Larry Holmes in 1980. But he had nothing left. Holmes dominated every round of the fight, and after the 10th round, Ali's trainer, Angelo Dundee, rightfully stopped the fight. Ali fought one more time against Trevor Berbick in 1981, losing a unanimous decision. Muhammad Ali's time in the ring had ended, with a legacy that no other heavyweight had matched, and he was called the greatest of all time, finishing with a professional record of 56 wins, 37 by knockout, and 5 losses. But times change, the sport grows, and new fighters emerge. The way fighters train today is much different than the way they did back in Ali's heyday. Fighters do things today that we never thought possible, due to advanced training, nutrition, and technology. So, is Ali still the greatest heavyweight of all time? Oleksandr Usyk may have something to say about that. Nicknamed the Cat, Ukrainian fighter Oleksandr Usyk started his pro boxing career as a cruiserweight, winning his first fight in 2013. In his 5th professional bout, he stopped Daniel Bruver in the 7th round, winning the vacant WBO Interim Intercontinental Cruiserweight title. After 4 successful defenses of that title, he won the WBO Championship belt, beating Krzysztof Glowacki by unanimous decision on September 17, 2016. In 2018, during the World Boxing Super Series, he won the WBC Cruiserweight title over Maurice Brides in the semifinal, and added the WBA Super, IBF, and vacant The Ring Cruiserweight titles in the final. After just 15 professional fights, all victories, he was the unified world champion in the Cruiserweight division and became the first ever 4-belt undisputed Cruiserweight champion. Just nuts! After just one defense of his Cruiserweight titles, he decided he was going to move up where all the action was, where all the big names were, and where he could get the recognition he felt he deserved, the heavyweight division. On Halloween night 2020, Usyk entered the ring for his 2nd heavyweight bout, and it wasn't just any fight. It was a title fight against WBO Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion Derek Chisora. Usyk weighed in at 217 pounds, giving up almost 40 pounds to Chisora. Alex cruised to a unanimous decision victory. The scorecards read 117 to 112, 115 to 113, 115 to 113. Though all 3 should have been 117 to 112. Usyk proved himself to be a real threat after just 2 fights, and what he did for an encore took that to another level. On the 25th of September 2021, Usyk stepped in the ring for only his 2nd heavyweight fight against 2-time unified champion Anthony Joshua in London, England. And he dominated the fight, winning a unanimous decision, 117 to 112, 116 to 112, and 115 to 113. The judge who scored the fight 115 to 113 must have been blind, because the fight wasn't close. After only 2 heavyweight fights, Oleksandr Usyk was the WBA Super, IBF, WBO, and IBO heavyweight champion of the world. A year later, he would have to back up that performance in a rematch with Joshua. And he did. On August 20th, 2022 in Saudi Arabia, Usyk won the rematch by a split decision, though many feel it wasn't that close, and added a 5th title to his heavyweight resume, winning the vacant The Ring heavyweight title. All that's stopping him from winning the WBC title is politics. A win in a super fight with Tyson Fury would surely cement his place as maybe the greatest ever. So, how does he compare to Ali? We know that Ali fought all the greatest heavyweights of his time, and Usyk has only had 4 fights as heavyweight. But Usyk entered the division fighting champions, and the fighters of today are much better trained and far better athletes. Ali trained by running up to 7 miles a day and eating high-protein foods like chicken, rice, and steak, with vegetables, potatoes, and fruits, and would rarely focus on weight training. Those are basic things that every boxer does today. Usyk takes it to the next level with CrossFit training and participates in a variety of sports like football, basketball, canoeing, volleyball, swimming, and dance. I highly doubt prime Ali would be able to keep up with the conditioning of Usyk. Ali's greatest performance is his victory over Foreman in 1974. For that fight, he weighed in at 216 pounds. Usyk weighed in at 221 pounds in both fights with Anthony Joshua. Both Ali and Usyk are 6 foot, 3 inches tall and have a 78-inch reach. Without Ali being able to use a reach advantage to work his jab, it would come down to power punching. In his fight with Foreman, Ali landed 118 of his 252 punches. In Usyk's last fight, the Anthony Joshua rematch, he landed 170 of 712 total punches. It seems to me that Ali would be overwhelmed if they were to fight in their primes. I would much rather be stung by an American bee than mauled by a Ukrainian cat. So, from being mauled by a European cat to the Boston Strong Boy, that was Muhammad Ali versus Oleksandr Usyk, the real GOAT debate.